Enslavers. Sometimes called puppeteers, the enslavers are twisted creatures capable of taking full control of their victim's body and mind. They look like floating horrors, part jellyfish and part spider, around 2 meters wide and covered in tendrils that hum with psychic power. They don't speak or think like anything we can understand. Instead, they hijack psychers, turning them into living portals that let more of their kind pour into real space. Once that starts, it spreads fast. An enslaver infestation can wipe out an entire planet in days. They take over everything with a mind, humans, other Xenos, and use them as puppets to build more gateways. When that happens, the only real solution is exterminatus. They first appeared during the War in Heaven, when the psychic network of the Old Ones collapsed and unleashed what's now known as the Enslaver Plague. It was one of the biggest disasters in galactic history, and it helped push the Necrons into their long stasis. Even today, they're still out there, rare but not gone. The Ordo Malleus and Ordo Xenos keep constant watch for any sign of them. During the Scintilla incident, for example, thousands were enslaved before Imperial forces were able to stop the spread. Slaugth. If the enslavers are parasites of the mind, the Slaugth thrive on the dead. They're one of the most dangerous Xenos ever encountered, creatures that feed on brains and rebuild corpses into their own kind of machines. They look like bloated corpses wrapped in a slick, translucent membrane dripping black blood. Beneath that dead flesh are insect-like limbs, thin, sharp, and jointed like beetles. They use these to scuttle around or strike with terrifying speed. They leak necrotic fluid constantly because their biology is always decaying, and they keep themselves alive by eating away at neural tissue. A single Slaugth can drain a mind dry, absorbing memories and skills before turning the body into one of their biomechanical puppets. They build entire armies this way, silent, rotting servitors powered by alien enzymes and stitched together from bone and metal. The worst part is they don't invade worlds in the open. They infiltrate and take over cults, black markets, and organ smugglers. By the time the Inquisition realizes what's happening, the Slaugth already control entire governments through reanimated imposters. Uvath. The Uvath were an ancient alien empire that once controlled the Calyx Expanse, long before the Imperium arrived. Everything they made, from buildings to weapons, was infused with warp energy and demonic power. During the Angevin Crusade in the 39th millennium, the Imperium launched a brutal campaign to wipe them out. The Uvath fought back with endless armies of enslaved beings and terrifying warp-powered weapons that could drive people insane just by being seen. Eventually, St. Drusus led the final attack that broke their empire. Their cities were destroyed and their name was erased from Imperial records. A few tech priests have tried to study Uvath technology, but most won't go near it. The Adeptus Mechanicus sees their machines as some of the most blasphemous ever created. Those who try to use them rarely survive, and those who do are never the same. Across the Coronis Expanse, their ruins are still scattered on dead planets and drifting space hulks. Their relics are made of white crystal covered in twisted symbols that seem to shift when no one's watching. Some of these things whisper, others emit a faint glow in the dark, but they all carry a sense of danger. Even the smallest fragment can twist a person's mind, steering them toward madness and the worship of chaos. A Uvath relic was showcased in the short film Astartes by Digital Bones, where the raw power of the Uvath is brought to life in stunning detail. Megarachnids. These creatures were towering, metallic spiders that once infested the planet called Murder, a world so hostile that even its name came from the last words of a dying space marine. They were an ancient, intelligent species armed with blades and a hatred for everything. Long before the Imperium found them, the human Interrex had already fought and defeated the Megarachnids. Instead of wiping them out, they locked them away on Murder, a prison world wrapped in storms created by alien weather machines shaped like massive trees. These storms broke communications and tore apart landing craft, making the planet nearly impossible to approach. During the Great Crusade, the Blood Angels landed first, completely unaware of the warning beacons left by the Interrex. Within days, they were cut down to the last man. The Megarachnids hunted them through the forests, hanging their bodies on the branches of their artificial storm trees. The Emperor's children came next and met the same fate until Captain Saul Tarvitz destroyed one of those structures, and the skies cleared just long enough for the Luna Wolves and the War Master himself to strike back. What followed was 6 months of brutal extermination. Titans burned the forests and thousands of Megarachnids were slaughtered. No one knows if the Megarachnids survived after that. Rak'Gol. They are savage alien raiders first seen near the Hellenic Depths, a dark, dangerous region of space close to the Calixis sector. They are feared for their sudden, violent attacks on starships and remote colonies. They strike fast, kill without mercy, and no one knows why they attack or what they want. The Rak'Gol look like huge, 8-limbed reptilian monsters made of jagged stone. They're over 3 meters long, chalk white, and shaped like giant mantises. Their bodies are full of cybernetic implants used to boost their strength or replace lost limbs. Their screeching language can't be understood, and no Rak'Gol has ever been captured alive. Their raids are fast and deadly, and attack without warning, kill everyone they find, and often steal minerals and weapons before disappearing. Their ships hide near the Hellenic Depths, a region so dark and chaotic that even the Astronomican's light barely reaches it. Navigating or sending messages there is nearly impossible, making it hard to chase them down. In the 41st millennium, the Adeptus Mechanicus found the wreck of the Solace of Dawn, an Imperial merchant ship. Its crew had been slaughtered, and logs pointed to a new alien threat. More attacks followed, Monastery 20 was burned, thousands died on Savolis, and the Rak'Gol name spread from there. Rak'Gol technology is built for killing with their ships, often mixed with crude cybernetics and stolen parts. They don't try to talk or negotiate, and their society seems to be split into castes: carvers, marauders, broodmasters, abominations, renders, and techno-shamans. Rak'Gol forces are spreading across the Coronis expanse. Some rogue traders believe their homeworlds lie deep within the Hellenic depths, but no one has found them. Their purpose and full power also remain a mystery. Saruthi. A strange alien race from a small empire near the Helican subsector, the Saruthi once led a powerful civilization spread across more than 40 star systems, but everything changed when they came across the Necrotuk, a book tied to chaos. The book twisted their minds, and their empire collapsed in a brutal civil war. Saruthi bodies are unsettling to look at, with their 5 limbs placed randomly, gray wrinkled skin and no eyes or ears. Instead of seeing or hearing, they sense the world through smell and taste. Imagine towering at around 2 meters tall and weighing double the average man. These beings stride on silver stilts that give them an extra meter in height. What's disturbing is their ability to interlace their fingers, forming a face that looks eerily human. Their blood is gray, and they can create a field of electric blue energy around their heads, which they can unleash as energy bolts for offense. There's also a different type of Saruthi that was forced into servitude. These unfortunate ones look sickly and bloated with wrinkled, white, blotchy skin. Instead of stilt, they're burdened with restraining devices strapped to their legs. Their homeworld is 56 Izar, and their cities look like giant spiral shells. Instead of using starships, they travel through warp portals called tetragates. These lead to artificial warp spaces known as tetrascapes, where they live outside normal reality. Inquisitor Gregor Eisenhorn met the Saruthi during a mission to destroy the Necrotuk. After a deadly fight in a collapsing star system, the book was destroyed, and all contact with the Saruthi was banned. Hrud. Dubbed as shadow dwellers that spread decay wherever they go, the Hrud are known as nocturnal warriors. They live underground or in dark corners of hive cities, thriving in places deadly to most life. Their presence speeds up time, aging people to dust and corroding metal in seconds. Some look like hooded rat men, others like twisted insects. Their forms blur, and when killed, they melt into foul-smelling liquid. Their bones bend in any direction, earning them the nickname Bendies. Their aging field may be psychic or linked to the warp. Whole worlds have fallen to ruin after a Hrud migration passed through. First encountered during the Great Crusade, the Iron Warriors nearly wiped them out on Gugan, but infestations keep returning. On Ursula's Spinal, defenders aged 50 years in a week. Similar outbreaks on Mordant Prime and Century required full military purges, and even Space Marines have struggled to survive Hrud swarms. The Hrud are advanced and use warp plasma rifles called fusils. They worship gods called the Slaugth, led by Ka, who is said to be an old one who helped them escape the Necrons during the War in Heaven. Umbra. They are a terrifying alien species known for their hostility toward all other life forms. They appear as floating black spheres that can manipulate shadows as weapons, striking from darkness. They are drawn to starships' warp drives and seem to have a deep connection to the Immaterium. Light is their only weakness, and experiments by Magos biologist Charlie Darvis showed that placing an Umbra in a space with no shadows caused it to die. This suggests their bodies are only partial reflections of a larger being, with the rest hidden in the warp. Some researchers believe the Umbra is something that exists mostly beyond real space. When one was destroyed, it emitted psychic shockwaves filled with terrifying imagery, a humanoid shape breaking apart, or a roaring warp storm. Many link this to the ancient Hrud god Ka, who, according to xenomyths, was shattered by Slanesh during the fall of the Elder. They drift near webway gates and abandoned warp drives, sometimes following ships across the void before striking from the dark. Every encounter ends the same way. It goes dark, the crew screams, and when light returns, only blood and scattered tools remain. The Ak'Haireth. Often referred to in Imperial records as the Bone Drinkers, the Ak'Haireth were an alien species that spread like a psychic plague during the Great Crusade. These beings were colonies of fungal parasites linked together by a shared consciousness known as a bloom. They feed on the marrow of beings, dissolving flesh to reach the bones beneath. The Ak'Haireth eat slowly, keeping their prey alive for days while sucking the nutrients and psychic residue from their nervous systems. Entire settlements were left filled with bodies drained of strength, with their bones hollow and brittle. Their growth pattern made them nearly impossible to kill. Every fragment of the species could regrow into a new bloom if left unchecked, and even a single spore could rebuild the network over time. They infested ships, abandoned mining colonies, and even the lower decks of Imperial warships, spreading from shadow to shadow until the infection burst into the open. The Imperium's first major engagements with the Bone Drinkers were fought by the Space Wolves and Night Lords, who burned worlds to contain the plague. But each time they thought it was over, the Ak'Haireth returned, rebuilding themselves from spores. It wasn't until the Alpha Legion intervened that the cycle was broken. In a covert operation later known as the Hunting of the Ak'Haireth, Alfarius deployed a custom bioweapon tailored to the parasite's psychic structure, collapsing their shared mind and turning their own link against them. Lacrymole. These are shape-shifting Xenos species known for their ability to mimic humans after feeding on their blood. Once nearly exterminated by the Emperor and his legions during the Great Crusade, a few survivors escaped and have since haunted the Imperium, hiding inside starships and feeding on unsuspecting crews. Their true form is an eerie mass of flesh and limbs, constantly shifting, with black eyes. After feeding, they can perfectly imitate their victim's appearance, voice, and behavior, making them ideal assassins. During the Horus Heresy, a Lacrymole infiltrated the planet Bastion disguised as a custodian, almost turning the world against the Imperium. Inquisitor Grunwald also found the species on Beta Cairn and declared them Xenos Horrificus, ordering their extermination on sight. A chilling encounter also happened during the Achilles Crusade. Inquisitor Malice Dice and a Death Watch kill team boarded a vessel, expecting gene stealers. Instead, they found Lacrymole, who mimicked their own allies and picked them off one by one. Dice escaped alone, but his warnings were ignored and he died broken, whispering of aliens lurking in the shadows. Thank you for watching my rundown of the creepiest Xenos species in Warhammer 40k universe. Click here for more videos and see you in the next one.